Coming up on DITV, the Iowa legislature passes a bill for university funding. We'll tell you what this means for Iowa.
And later, we tell you who will be filling seats in the Faculty Senate.
Offensive coordinator Brian Ferentz gives us life advice on marriage. Stay tuned for his interesting take in sports.
Grab your umbrellas, you're gonna need them this week. Stay tuned for weather.
All that and more is coming up in this Wednesday, April 24th edition of DITV.
Don't click away, it all starts now. Good morning and thank you for tuning in. I'm Becca Scadden.
And I'm Kaylin Cluck. Last night, a majority of Republicans approved a nearly $1 billion education budget. With more on what this means for the University of Iowa, we have Julia DiGiacomo live in the newsroom. Good morning, Julia.
Good morning.
So, Julia, what was the result of this education appropriations bill in the Iowa Senate last night?
So the Senate passed the Education Appropriations Bill, which will give a $12 million funding boost to all three Iowa public universities. The vote passed 32 to 18 along party lines, and the bill now awaits approval by the governor. The House passed its version of the bill on April 8th, which allocated even more funding, $15.9 million for Iowa's public universities.
And then how does this funding line up with the Board of Regents' requests?
So the funding falls $6 million short of the Board of Regents' requests. The Board of Regents requested $18 million total in their last meeting. And the board said that if the funding doesn't reach the full $18 million, they possibly could raise tuition for Iowa State students and University of Iowa students by 3 to 5%, although no final decision has been made.
Julia DiGiacomo live in the newsroom. Thank you. For more details on this education budget, you can visit dailyiowan.com.
Last night, members of the community gathered to discuss their safety plan for Iowa City schools. The Iowa City Community School District is looking to provide a safer learning environment, as well as reduce school violence and improve law enforcement collaboration. Among the recommendations proposed were mental health screenings for students, anti-bullying training, and risk assessment. After mass shootings at schools such as Sandy Hook and Parkland, the board hopes this plan will prevent any similar events from taking place. For more on the story, check out Kate Pixley's article in today's edition of the Daily Iowan.
Iowa City Councilor John Thomas has announced his plans to run for re-election. A retired landscape architect from San Francisco, Thomas began representing Iowa City C District in 2016. With his term slated to end at the beginning of January, Thomas has announced that he will be seeking re-election come November. His campaign is said to focus on affordable housing, street improvements, and community safety.
On Tuesday, the Faculty Senate held a meeting to announce next year's vice president and secretary, as well as hear from the president on future plans. DITV reporter Melissa Meter has more.
The Faculty Senate held a meeting yesterday in the old Capitol Senate chambers, where they announced next year's Faculty Senate vice president and secretary.
Committee's nominees for Faculty Senate Vice President are Ed Gillen from Chemistry and Joe Yagi from Law. Our nomination for Faculty Senate Secretary is Teresa Marshall from Preventive and Community Dentistry. And congratulate our new Secretary of the Faculty Senate, Teresa Marshall, and our new Vice President of the Faculty Senate, Joe Yagi.
At the meeting, the Senate also heard from the new president, Sandy Doc Hirsch, about her plan to focus on a shared governance next year, which is upheld within each of the colleges on campus.
One of the most important principles of shared governance is the idea that a college or university in which all components are aware of their interdependence, of the usefulness of communication among themselves, and the force of joint action will enjoy increased capacity to solve educational problems.
The university's faculty and staff have important roles in creating a shared governance.
I believe that this is one of the most important roles for all of us as members of faculty. Faculty Senate to facilitate, maintain, and create capacity for faculty to enact this principle.
Reporting from the Old Capitol Senate Chambers, Melissa Meter, DITV News.
Well, Becca, I heard it's going to rain more this week, and I'm a little worried because the wind broke my umbrella last week.
Well, Kaylin, with these April showers rolling in, sounds like you might have to replace it, but let's ask Abby in the weather studio with more.
Thanks, ladies. And yes, the spring warmth has been settling in, but soon enough, those April showers are going to be settling in as well. Just looking at this Wednesday morning, we're going to see a few clouds in the sky early in the day, and then the high is going to reach 67 degrees. And then as the night rolls around, we're going to see those clouds start to disappear before that low drops down to 46 degrees. Looking at the rest of the week, Thursday is going to see a bit of rain with a 50% chance of those showers in the morning, but a high of 70 and the rain dissipating in the evening hours as that low drops down to 45 degrees. Friday is going to be a break from that rain with cloudy skies and a high of 64 and a low of 45, but those showers are going to start back up in the early hours of Saturday morning. We are looking at a high of 56 and 100% chance of rain during the day on Saturday, but the rain does slow down before those evening hours where the low will drop to 37 degrees. Sunday is another cloudy day with the high in the lower 60s and the low in the mid 40s, and then we will see that rain return again on Monday with the high in the lower 60s and a 50% chance of rain throughout the day, and then a low in the mid 40s. Now last week we did have a few showers here and there, but some good sunny days in between. And unfortunately this week we are not as lucky. So keep that umbrella with you, you're gonna need it. Ladies, back to you at the desk.
Students on the University of Iowa campus are participating in a 24-hour fast to bring attention to an at-risk scholar. Nazar bin Gaff, after speaking out against United Arab Emirates leaders, bin Gaff was sentenced to 10 years in prison by the Abu Dhabi Court of Appeals. Bin Gaff has been on 3 hunger strikes since his imprisonment, which led to the organization of the student-led fast. UI students are also calling for people to sign a petition supporting bin Gaff's release. The fast will be held later today while the petition remains active for signatures.
The city of Iowa City has announced that they will pledge $1 million to the Englert Theater and Film Scene's current fundraising campaign. The campaign, Strengthen, Grow, Evolve, aims to raise funds towards the establishment's historic preservation. Part of the campaign will include a new film festival named Refolk. Film Scene will be moving into the new Chauncey building when it opens later this year. The current location in the pedestrian mall will continue to keep their doors open. You know, Becca,
Caitlin, it sounds like sports had a pretty late night last night.
yes, that's right. There's exciting news in the world of Iowa baseball. Let's toss it over to Cade in the sports studio for more on that.
Yes, you're right. It was a late night at Dwayne Banks when Iowa's midweek game against Milwaukee went into extra innings. It took 12 of them for Iowa to secure the 5-4 victory over the Panthers. It was back and forth until the 11th, where Austin Martin delivered an RBI to tie it up at 4 runs apiece, and then Justin Jenkins secured the victory with a walk-off home run in the 12th.
Yeah, off the bat, a no-doubter. It's the first time I've ever hit a ball like that, especially in Division I baseball. Like I said, it's an unbelievable feeling, and when you know, you just react, and it was an awesome feeling.
Well, I mean, that just a great play. It was really a great game to watch. I mean, as a fan, I'm sure, and you know, Justin makes a big throw, perfect throw, throws the guy out at the plate, and then comes up and wins the game with a solo home run. And I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Oh, Banks magic, baby. You know how it works. But when we go to Ohio State, we know we got a good conference series this weekend, and we're gonna dial it up these next couple days in practice, and we're gonna come at them hot.
As Brendan Schur hinted at, the Hawks will hit the road this weekend to face Ohio State. And yesterday, we heard from Iowa football coordinators for the first time this season. Looking at the defense next season, defensive coordinator Phil Parker still doesn't know who the starters will be, and he's not planning on deciding for a while.
The Friday before first game. Okay. That's when I like to have, no. But no, I think we got a bunch of guys that have the chance, and they got the leadership that I think Seth does a really good job with those guys, and they're all know what's going on, and it's going to be, I think it's going to take time. It might be, halfway through 2 days, and not even 2 days now, just fall practice,
And for the offense, they are on the right track, but the players we'll see on the field in September is still a question mark.
Whatever we have to do over the next 2 months, to get to that point where we can head into camp and feel like we're ready to continue that competition. We got one guy join us in the summer, so right now it's all things are trending the way we want them, but I know we're a long ways away from doing anything that matters.
But while at the press conference, Ferentz was asked about recruiting the right type of players for Iowa, and he had some pretty good life advice to share.
If you got to do all that convincing, it's probably not a great fit at the end of the day. It's kind of like getting married. Although that's probably not a good analogy. I had to do a lot of convincing on that one too. But it's worked out thus far. Trapped her.
You gotta love the analogy there. Good thing that TJ Hawkinson was the right type of player for Iowa's system because he came out of high school with only 2 offers. And now he's hoping to hear his name called tomorrow for the first round of the NFL draft. Hawkinson was one of 4 Hawkeyes to leave early, and it was a tough decision for him. But for Hawkinson, his decision came down to a love for the game.
Going into the NFL, I mean, I think some guys, look at the money aspect. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, you're playing football for a living. That's, what's a better job than that? But on the same hand, you're playing football, and you're playing the best game on earth. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot. I mean, you can only play this game so much, and then I want to push myself. I want to go to the next level, and I want to see what I can do.
But before Hawkinson can see what he can do on the field, he's got to hear his name on draft night. Hawkinson is projected a high-round draft pick, and he's choosing to ignore the draft boards and hype around him before the big day.
I mean, it's flattering, obviously. I mean, don't get me wrong, but at the same hand, no one knows. No one has a clue. I mean, you could fall very easily. No one knows what's going to happen on that day. I don't think the teams even know what's going to happen until that day. So, I mean, it's just, like I say, you got to take it day by day. You got to take it week by week, but you can't be looking at that thinking, you got to. I mean, you still got to go to work. You still got to do the stuff. And I don't get on very much social media just because of, that you can't let that. I mean.
I'm sure Hawkinson will get back on social media after the draft tomorrow night, and then he'll be ready to get back on the field playing football again.
I'm getting ready for rookie minicamp, so I gotta be there. I gotta come in ready to go. I'm gonna do my best to dive into the playbook, learn everything I can, and get acclimated to that organization. So I'm super excited for it.
Hawkinson is listed as the top tight end in the draft, and we expect to hear his name called within the first 15 picks. Hawkinson is a strong blocker, he's athletic, and should be an instant starter when September rolls around. But that'll wrap up things from me in the sports studio. Come back tomorrow for a special preview of the men's Big Ten tennis tournament. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you for tuning into this Wednesday morning edition of DITV.
For more Daily Iowan, make sure to give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Or if you prefer a print copy of the news, you can find the Daily Iowan on stands now. For DITV, I'm Becca Scadden.
And I'm Kaylin Cluck. Have a great day, Iowa City. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning, same time, same place.
DITV is celebrating their achievements from the 2019 Iowa Broadcast News Association Awards, being named the #1 college news station in Iowa. The IBNA has also recognized DITV with Best Sportscast featuring Lucy Rodin and Natalie Acapeti, Best Weather Coverage from DITV's Weather Team, a first place finish in spot news coverage by Noah Gowdy, a second place finish for an in-depth series by Bo Bowman, second and third place finishes for Best Newscast produced by Anthony Caligiuri and Becca Scadden. Feature reporting and political coverage by Sydney Zatz. Excellence in reporting, general reporting, and public affairs by Caitlin Cluck. And finally, excellence in anchoring featuring Anthony Caligiuri, Mackenzie Cooper, and Becca Scadden. We'd like to thank the University of Iowa community and viewers like you for your continued support of DITV.